Welcome to the Tiger Kidz podcast. This week we're doing a Blues edition for the State of Origin Game 2 in Perth.
Okay, firstly, we are going to name the teams. Queensland against New South Wales Blues. First, in the number one, we have Kalen Ponga against Dylan Edwards. It's a pretty close one, but I reckon Dylan Edwards would take that. And then our two wingers, Xavier Coates and Brian To'o.
Well, Xavier Coates is very good under the high ball. Brian To'o is very good at catching and scoring in the corner. Unlike Xavier Coates is very good at jumping over the 5'10 Brian To'o.
I reckon that will be a very close one. And then we've got on the other wing, we've got Hamasai against Zach. That could be a close one, don't you think, Mitchell?
Now it's like the other way around. We have Zach Lomax, who's very good under the high ball, maybe the best in the whole league, against Hamasai, who's playing on the wing this game.
Usually plays fullback or in the centres, but this time he played it for the Cowboys, playing wing, going back to his old thing. And now we have the captain for the Queensland Maroons, Cameron Munster, against Jerome Luai. We've got Cameron Munster and Jerome Luai. I reckon Jerome Luai would get him, replacing Mitchell Moses after we think 6-week injury. And yeah, that is what we think. What do you think about that one, Mitchell?
I think Cameron Munster's actually been playing pretty well. The Munster magic. But Jerome Luai, overseen, because he plays for the West Tigers, of course, overseen every Origin game, but he finally gets his chance to show him in the Origin jersey this year.
Okay, now we've got in the 7 jersey, we've got Tom Dearden and Nathan Cleary, DCE, getting dropped from the Queensland side. How do you think that will go for the Queensland Maroons?
It's definitely a bit of a shake-up, dropping their captain. It's been a while since the Queensland team has dropped their captain straight off the team, not even in the reserves or anything. I think it'll be a little bit of a shake-up, but Tom Dearden, I reckon he has potential.
Yeah, I'm very to think that. And in the centres, we've got Robert Toia against Stephen Crichton in the number 3 jersey. Stephen Crichton coming back from an injury, but wasn't really bad. And Robert Toia, he's been doing pretty well lately, and so I think that'll be a pretty close one. And in the other centres, we've got Valentine Holmes versus Latrell Mitchell. 2 very good, talented players, and that could be a very good show to watch. What do you think about that one?
Valentine Holmes has his good games and his bad games, whereas Latrell Mitchell, I think when he puts on that Origin jersey, his skill goes up by 10x. Latrell Mitchell, of course, did that crazy pass in the first Origin game to score for Brian To'o, or one of our wingers. Let's see if he can do that again this game.
Alright, now we're going into our forwards. We've got
Max King and Milwaukee Fodawaker. Max King, new into the side after Mitch Barnett got injured, sadly. Now, I reckon Terrell May should have been picked and brought into the side, but I guess Laurie Daly thought otherwise.
But
Classical Tigers Origin selection.
But now we have into the number 9 jersey, the hooker. We've got Harry Grant and Reece Robson. Harry Grant from the Queensland, I reckon that's a pretty good choice. But Reece Robson, I don't reckon he has the potential for the New South Wales Blues. I reckon Appy or someone like Ben Hunt or something should have been picked, just not Reece Robson. My bad, Ben Hunt's a Queenslander. But anyways, number 10, we've got our second prop. We've got
Payne Haas and Tino Fasuma-Awi. Hopefully we don't see Tino doing illegal elbow charges this game, unlike last year. Against Payne Haas, who's just consistent, makes me's every game.
Well, Yeah. And then we've got the big man, the angry man, Ruben Cotter and Liam Martin. I reckon Liam Martin's got Ruben Cotter covered. You reckon?
Oh, Liam Martin, pretty good last 3 Origin series. Ruben Cotter, quite new to the Origin team in the past few years, but I feel like Liam Martin can up his game in this second game of the series.
Yes. We've also got, in the number 12, our other second row, we've got Kurt Capewell versus Angus Crichton. That could be a very, very close one. They're 2 very talented players in the second row. I guess we'll have to see how that one goes. And in our lock, we've got Trent Loiero and Isaiah Yeo, the New South Wales Blues captain in the lock. 2 very talented players, but Trent Loiero, very new to the Queensland side. So what do you think about that one?
Trent Loiero didn't have much options in the Maroons' lock position. Trent Loiero, I feel like he's an interesting pick.
Well, yeah, maybe, but they've both got some talent in them. But let's go into the interchange now. We've got 14 Kurt Mayne for the Queensland. Let's go through Queensland first. 14 Kurt Mayne, 15 Lindsay Collins, 16 Jeremiah Nana, 8 and 17 Pat Carrigan. And for the Blues, we've got 14 Connor Watson, 15 Spencer Leniu, 16 Hudson Young, and a new one back in the side this year, Stefano Utu Ikamanu in 17. How do you reckon he'll go?
Oh, fairly new to Origin, very new to Origin actually. Up against some of the best props, second rows, locks in the world. Patrick Garrigan, Jeremiah Nanai, Lindsay Collins, all in there. I think he'll have to step up his game a little bit.
Yeah, any changes do you reckon into the interchange that might swap up the game a little bit, do you reckon, or is it?
I reckon if he just brings a little bit more energy when he comes on the field, I reckon he has a chance of changing the game.
Yeah, and now we've got the reserves. Ezra Mam, 18th, Jack Howarth, 19, and 20 Corey Horsburgh for the Queensland. And for the New South Wales Blues, we've got 18 Matt Burton, 19 Keon Kolomatangi, and 20 Lindsay Smith.
And we've also got breaking news. Keon Kolomatangi ruled out for game 2. Jacob Preston brought in for Keon Kolomatangi.
We've just found that out. Breaking news. And the 2 coaches, Billy Slater and Laurie Daly, and the referee, Ashley Klein. Can you tell me who names their son Ashley? Some random parent names their kid Ashley. Alright, let's go on to what do you reckon we can improve this game from game 1?
I don't reckon there's much we can improve on. We did pretty well against the Maroons. Game 1, I reckon we just try and defend on the wings and try and get under the high ball, especially Brian To'o, because Xavier Coates jumped very high, and we've seen that in the past few NRL games. He can jump 7 foot high, pretty tall, pretty good legs.
I think we need to work on our skill winger effect in defending, because our wingers can also be very, not talented, but also talented on the wing in defending. I think Brian To'o just needs to cover, who is it? Cameron.
You mean Hamside?
Yeah, Hamside.
Xavier Coates.
No, Xavier Coates, yeah, from that jumping. You reckon he can do that?
It'll be tough, but maybe if he positions his body right, he may be able to get the head on Xavier Coates.
And in the middle, in the props, we've got some good props. We've got Payne Haas, and we've also got Liam Martin Angus. And we've got some pretty old people, but also some new people in the Queensland side. How do you reckon they'll go this year?
Tino, pretty good always. Milwaukee Footwork, I'd like to see how he goes. I'd also like to see how Trent Liera goes this game, being pretty new, only a few NRL appearances.
I would like to see how Max King goes in one of his couple appearances in
the Blues jumper.
And let's go to our halves. We've got in our halves some very talented halves. We've got Jerome Luai and Nathan Cleary. And Queensland have got Cameron Munster and Tom Dearden.
Also, talking about the halves, now that Daly Cherry Evans is gone, Tom Dearden will really need to step up in-game kicking. We need to see more attacking kicks from New South Wales and taking advantage of defending against Queensland's attacking kicks.
I think
because DCE was really carrying their attacking kicks. So we'll see if Cameron Munster or Tom Dearden will step up to do that job to replace DCE.
Because Nathan Cleary in the last game was missing a couple kicks, and he missed one where you could have probably made, but I think he could step up his kicking game again and maybe kick some goals.
In my opinion, I think they should have Stefano Utoikamanu kicking if Nathan Cleary misses a few.
Yeah, it's probably the best decision we could decide, isn't it?
Yeah.
If the Queensland miss a couple, I reckon Tino should take some kicks.
Maybe.
And now we've got, who do you reckon would play the best game in
I reckon that based on New South Wales stats in the last few games, way more possession, more attacking meters, I reckon that I feel like New South Wales Blues could really take it in the forward pack this game.
My prediction on player of the match this season is probably this game. I'm actually going to go with Liam Martin if I had to say anything about who I reckon would play the best game for the Blues. If I were to choose someone from the Queensland Maroons, I reckon I'd probably choose Valentine Holmes. He's been playing a good kicking game and a very good defence lately. What do you think about that one?
Interesting choice, I reckon. Just looking on team stats, I've looked to see that last game, as I was talking about possession, last year, the Blues, it was very tight in possession. I reckon that's changed over the year. I reckon now in the first game, Blues had a lot more possession and also set completion, 83% to 77% last year. I reckon that's pretty good.
Yeah, that might be pretty good. We can use that definitely on the Maroons, and that will scare their defence a lot. Talking about the Blues, we can probably improve on our defence on tackling. Some people are wrapping their arms around their hips, not bringing them down, which gives them a chance to offload. How do you think about that one, though?
Offloads, I don't think offloads are really a worry. We got 15 offloads for their 7 last game. Also, with more total passes, only by 3, though. Also, what I found surprising was that we had an extra 4 minutes in possession, which is pretty good. That's a whole 2 sets more, which is 10 tackles, 10 more opportunities to score a try. Post-contact meters, we got almost an extra 150 post-contact meters. As I was talking about our big forwards doing all the hard work in the middle. Yeah. Tackle breaks was also another big landslide. 49 tackle breaks to 19. 30 more. I reckon our backs need to step up their game. Because 49 to 19, that's pretty good for New South Wales. I reckon we can get that up to 40 ahead.
Yeah, Mitchell, that can be very close. Especially with Luai replacing Moses with the possession and tackling. Luai has I reckon he can play a great game after replacing Moses. Do you reckon he can?
I reckon he has the chance to do it. Also, talking about most tackles, how we need to work in tackles in the middle. Patrick Carrigan, most tackles in the game with 53, compared to New South Wales' most tackles, only 42. That's 11 more tackles in the middle.
Now we've got the time in possession. This is possession and completions. We've also got 30 minutes and 57 seconds mostly in possession for the Blues. And to Queensland with 27 minutes and 38 seconds. Now we are going to go with negative play. We've got with the Queensland Maroons with the most errors in the game by 13 errors to 10 errors. I reckon Queensland can definitely improve on that. They have some pretty good talented players where they can probably hold the ball more. Blues just had a couple accidents in the play. I reckon we can probably hold the ball a little bit more and we can improve on that. With penalties conceded, Queensland Maroons with 9 and Blues with 6. That's quite a bit of penalties in the last game. And ruck infringements 3-1, with the Queensland Maroons having 3-1. Inside 10 metres, we have 1-1. And sin bins, the Blues have 1 and the Queensland Maroons have 0.
Looking at these stats, I feel like Queensland are definitely training their discipline, more penalties, more errors, more 6 agains. As we're talking about ruck infringements, 3 ruck infringements to only 1. That's an extra 12 tackles for the Blues.
Yeah, the interchanges 8-8. They used 8 interchanges. That's quite a very good. With the kick divisional, we've got with the Queensland Maroons. They actually had 9 bombs. We only had 4. That's pretty surprising. And we also had 2-2 grubbers, which I'm not surprised about. With the passing offloads, New South Wales Blues had a lot. And so, going back to defence here, cutting myself off, 409 tackles made by the Queensland Maroons and 345 tackles made by the New South Wales Maroons. And now we have the effective tackles. We've got 84% for the Maroons and 92% by the Blues. I reckon we can have a little bit better on that one. So can the Queensland Maroons. I reckon they can go a little bit higher. We have missed tackles. It's a very big change to this one. 49-19. You reckon Maroons can actually improve on that one?
As I was saying, discipline is key. Missed tackles, an extra 30 more. That's an extra 30 more line breaks through the line.
That is a lot. I think that's what they need to work on. 18-6 last game. Well, it's pretty good. Now we've got ineffective tackles. Now we have this. We have 27-12. Queensland Maroons with 27 and the Blues with 12. What do you think about that one?
Well, I reckon it's more about discipline as well. They only had 84% of their tackles were effective compared to Blues' 92%. That's pretty good. Only 8% of their tackles was not effective.
All right, let's see some player stats here. Mitchell already read out this. With Patrick Carrigan and Reece Robson. But now let me read out the most run meters. Now we've got most run meters. Xavier Coates with 173 and Brian Toto with the most with 225.
Not a big surprise that they're both wingers, lots of meters. Although Brian Toto with an extra 52
I was
run
gonna.
meters. That's almost half the field.
I was gonna say maybe Lomax. I thought it may have been Lomax. Lomax running a lot. Maybe he came like third or something.
Talking of Lomax, most line breaks 2 for Zach Lomax, and for the Queensland Maroons, Xavier Coates with 1. Only 1 line break.
And now we've got the fantasy points, most fantasy points.
Although Nathan Cleary missed so many conversions, still got the most fantasy points by a landslide. 37 points more than the Queensland best. 88 fantasy points for Nathan Cleary. That is high. Hope you captained him. 51 points for Patrick Carrigan.
Yes, that is very, very good. Okay, that was the player stats.
Now, with all this positive talk about New South Wales, I feel like you can already guess who our tip's going to be. But it's just, what's the margin going to be, you reckon?
Margin, I reckon if I was to be honest, Queensland might have a pretty good chance on this one. So I'm going to have to go with Queensland on this one.
You're tipping Queensland? Are you dead in the brain or something?
No, I'm not. I'm only joking. I have the Maroons very close to the Blues, but the margin will actually be pretty close, I meant. I'm going to go with the Blues with this one. I reckon it'll be 24-20. What do you reckon?
I reckon this game could go either way. I reckon the Blues could either win by landslide if they get out early, or Maroons may score a couple tries early, go in front, and I reckon we could be in for a close game. I've got Blues by 12 points.
All right, now, how do we reckon the game will go in facts?
I reckon the Blues
No.
got to win this game by by Payne Haas.
You've just
and
gone
all
on
that
topic.
going straight through the middle, gaining lots of meters through the middle, and then in the final 4th and 5th tackle, I reckon it's key to go wide, use our key players like Jerome Luai, Nathan Cleary, and Latrell Mitchell, as we've seen with his excellent passing skills.
I've just said something. And I reckon that the backs can do some fancy work and the forwards will bring it some tries into the under the posts. But in reality, I reckon Queensland can do some as well, and I reckon it'll be a pretty close game on that one. And with that, I reckon it can be a very close one. Now let's guess, who do you reckon will score a try this game?
Oh, I reckon anyone could score a try. It could be forward, backs, but I reckon I got Zach Lomax, first try scorer, and an anytime try scorer. I reckon Liam Martin goes in.
Alright, that's for your New South Wales Blues. What about your Queensland Maroons tip?
I reckon, hopefully Queensland don't even score one, but for first try scorer, for Queensland, I reckon Xavier Coates on the high ball, pretty good, basically unstoppable. And anytime try scorer, I reckon Ruben Cotter scores under the posts.
You've almost took some of my tips. I was going to say Zach Lomax and maybe Payne Haas with that one. And with the Queensland, I was going to say Xavier Coates and maybe Hammerside Tabidai Fido.
You've gone 2 backs for Queensland. Interesting. You reckon the backs will play a decent...
I reckon the backs for the Queensland Maroons will play a pretty good game. The forwards will just bring them some meters, but the backs will do some very good job in the side. How do you reckon that will go, or something?
I reckon I agree with you. I reckon the backs will need to do a lot for Queensland, but I guess we'll see how it'll go. And that's it for today for our State of Origin podcast. Remember to tune in next time for our West Tigers game preview, team list, after game, or anything on this Tiger Kids channel. Peace.
And And we will be doing it on Wednesdays. A lot of the time, mostly be posting on Thursdays. Thank you. See ya.
Peace
Bye.
out. Peace.